This episode is brought to you by Amazon Logistics. The Delivery Service Partner Program is a new opportunity for business leaders who want to own and operate their own package delivery business. Get access to Amazon's logistics training and technology and start building a team of motivated drivers in your community. To learn more about becoming an Amazon Delivery Service Partner, go to logistics.amazon.com. Hello and welcome to the Leaders in Supply Chain podcast. I am your host, Radu Palamariu, Managing Director of Elcott Global. Our mission is to connect the supply chain ecosystem by bringing forward the most interesting leaders in the industry. And it's my pleasure to have with us today Jochen Göttelmann, who is the CIO of Lufthansa Cargo. Lufthansa Cargo is one of the world's leading companies in the transport of air freight. They focus on airport-to-airport business and serve around 300 destinations in more than 100 countries with their own fleet of freighters, as well as their average transportation of freight on an annual basis is 1.6 million tons. Jochen joined Lufthansa as CIO in 2015, and prior to that, he worked as a head of business application management for investments and operations Europe at Allianz Global Investors for more than 12 years. Prior to that, he also worked in different leadership capacities for Dresdner Bank and Credit Suisse. Jochen, thanks for making the time and great to have you with us today.
Yeah, thanks a lot and very happy to go through the interview.
Super. So let's start with a question that is on everybody's minds, really, and it's a situation of crisis which is basically created right now in China, but it's impacted quite fast globally, which is the coronavirus spread. It's having a significant impact on air travel, a significant impact on air cargo into and out of China. Tell us a little bit about how is Lufthansa Cargo impacted and how is it also mitigating this situation?
Yeah, the coronavirus definitely has a severe impact on our one of our most important trade lanes from Europe to Far East Asia, especially China, especially in these times where the global trade suffers from headwinds like the trade war between US and China. And so this comes simply on top of all of that and further slows down a weak economy. So what we see at the moment, Lufthansa Passage, whose bellies we market, have completely canceled their China flights until end of February. Not sure when they will be able to reinstall the connections. On the Lufthansa Cargo side, we also had to adjust the freighter schedules. We still have some freighter connections to Greater China, but of course with a very, very limited load, because we also see that the volumes are pretty low. As we all know, the major Chinese enterprises have extended their New Year's break by 1 or 2 weeks. So it's not only a lack of capacity, but also very, very little demand to transport air freight in and out of China.
It's quite an unusual is not the word. I think it's quite an extreme situation and not something that it's easy to be prepared for. Really, it's a lot of businesses are scrambling for business continuity plans at the moment, and of course, air freight being less, there's probably going to be a significant impact also on ocean freight starting from next week, since everything is supposed to resume to whatever normal means in this situation, I guess. So yeah, we'll have to see how things pan out. But from a larger Lufthansa Cargo as a company perspective, I know that since you've come on as a CIO about 4 years ago, there's been quite a few projects and quite a few digital transformation initiatives that you've taken. And I wanted also to ask you in terms of, some of the things that you've managed to achieve in these years that you're most proud of in this direction of digitalizing digitalizing the company.
I would say the highest effort we put at the moment on the IT and digital side is definitely to renovate and modernize our whole sales IT landscape. This is not only legacy modernization like our new booking engine or internal CRM system, but it also to open our landscape, our IT processes to external parties, external platforms. We have a couple of initiatives to directly connect to our major clients. We have a couple of joint ventures also with startups, with digital booking platforms like Cargo One, like FreightNet, where we connect to these platforms to make our offer directly bookable via these platforms. And maybe the most lighthouse project we launched late last year was the dynamic pricing. We call it internally RRR, rapid rate response, which is a directly calculated complex algorithm to give a spot price which can be booked directly by our clients. So this has been launched in December to the first test markets, and we are now preparing the global rollout for the rest of the world until spring 2020. The next big highlight will be around spring 2020, the completely new e-booking, so our external booking front end for our clients, which we are currently developing and are quite well on plan to go live around spring.
And specifically for the booking system that uses online spot pricing, I think that there was a couple of pilot markets that you tested it already. I have here a list: Thailand, Vietnam, North and Northeast India, Beijing, the Middle East, Iran, Turkey, and USA. Can you share with us a little bit of how it went, some of the challenges that you faced, some of the early wins? We have a lot of listeners that come from the transportation and also airlines side that follow us on the podcast. So, maybe they can get some ideas from you if they want to do something similar.
Yeah, actually, the technical go live was pretty smooth. We had a lot of preparation and testing in advance, of course, before you do such a radical step. Radical means that we do not only implement an algorithm, but we completely change the way we interact with our clients, but also our in-house sales colleagues get a slightly different role from providing a price more to consulting for the whole service to the client. And I would say the major change is not so much the technology behind, although it's a complex AI-based algorithm with a 26 or 28 factor model, but it's mainly the way we interact with our clients. Our clients now can book immediately against the spot price, not only against the standard rate sheets, which is something completely new in our industry. We're really proud that we are among the first to deliver that service to our clients. So the first markets are really promising. We see that the prices are really good, means they are accepted by the client. They are pretty close to what our in-house sales would have calculated. And the major part of the request and response and interaction we get now from our clients and partners is not so much complaining about the price, but more asking what's behind the logics and simply getting used to the new way they interact with Lufthansa Cargo. And this refers again both to our clients and also our in-house sales colleagues. And for me, this is really a perfect example of how digitalization changes the way we interact amongst each other. It's not replacing a paper or workload-based process by some bits and bytes, but also changing completely the way we deal with each other.
And I'm just wondering, I have to ask you this question because usually, and it's across industries, whether it is transportation, aviation, logistics, shipping, whether it's in manufacturing, there is this concern that, will digitalization, will automation, will algorithms replace people? And I'm just wondering, from your sales team's perspectives, did you also get some concerns around that? Did you mitigate that, or how did you get them to embark on this journey of transformation? Because I'm just guessing there might have been some concerns also in that respect. I might be wrong, but I'm just putting it out there because I've heard this a lot along the same lines in different other industries.
No, you're absolutely right. And of course, whenever we launch a digitalization initiative, there are always concerns. What does it mean to our staff base? will they get obsolete? Will they get replaced by algorithms? And indeed, that triple R project, the dynamic pricing, we do not so much consider as a rationalization or efficiency measure to lay off salespeople. It's more to support them with a better pricing tool so that they can use their time and capacity, not so much on that transaction-based business, but more to consult our clients to deliver really end-to-end solutions and give them a better advice on the whole transport instead of just checking the price and negotiating by phone. So it's more, say, giving their work a higher value also for our clients and not so much replacing them by algorithms. But of course, it also means a lot of change for the whole organization. And this is something we all usually tend to neglect in these kind of projects. And I'm very happy to see that our sales department internally has started a major change initiative. We call it internally Level Up, which exactly means bringing the role of the salespeople one level up. And this includes all digitalization initiatives. Take the before mentioned renovation of the booking engine, the mentioned renovation of the CRM system, but also these enhancements in our business processes and business models like Triple R, but also connecting more to external platforms like Cargo One, which also changes the way we interact with our partners and clients.
Also wanted to bring into the discussion Heyworld, which is the wholly owned subsidiary that Lufthansa Cargo has launched, I think, somewhere mid of last year, with a very dedicated focus on the needs of the e-commerce industry, which I find in tune with the market. Obviously, e-commerce is booming, but at the same time, I'd love you to tell us a little bit more about it, because it's not a lot of strides that have been done, perhaps in the transportation industry, or not enough in terms of the e-commerce specifically. So I was curious to find out how Lufthansa Cargo is planning to use this subsidiary to develop the e-commerce side.
Yeah, no, this is really a great question. And this was one of the initiatives we launched, as you mentioned, last year. We tried to find an opportunity, we as Lufthansa Cargo, as a typical airport-to-airport carrier, to somehow bridge the gap between the integrators for the door-to-door business and a typical traditional cargo airline as we are. And we see a huge continuing growth in e-commerce. Also, it might slow down a little bit currently due to economic crisis, but growth continues, maybe at a slightly slower pace. And there is a lot of demand to deliver better solutions to our intermediaries. And we have outlined a value proposition not for a door-to-door business, but say airport-to-warehouse like approach where we can help major e-commerce players to better transport the stock to their warehouses. So it's something between, say, traditional B2B and B2C, and it's really very promising to see further growth at a very, very high speed and scaling up now. I'm not fully sure about the recent numbers, but already last year, within a couple of months, more than 100,000 transactions, which is a huge number for a platform starting completely on the green field.
What I also wanted to ask you was, in terms of all these risks, and we spoke about coronavirus, and there's going to be, in general, the trade wars have taken a toll last year. It's not been a great year for the air market anyways. Can you tell us a little bit, are there some strategies that Lufthansa Cargo uses to offset risks or to mitigate risk, or certain partnerships that you do? How do you manage to balance this?
Yeah, we all know that air freight is a very volatile business. And as you mentioned in the introduction, I joined Lufthansa Cargo in 2015. These 4 years I have seen two tremendously great years in 2017, 2018. I saw a crisis year, 2016, where we had the yield crisis. and the last year also wasn't too good at all. So it's very volatile, and one of the answers we have to that business is, of course, try to be flexible. At Lufthansa Cargo, we are currently in the process of rolling over our fleet. As you probably know, we still operate a couple of older MD-11 planes, which will be renovated and rolled over to brand new 777s in the next month. So we will completely modernize also our fleet, which gives us a lot more flexibility. And I would say we as Lufthansa Cargo have the extreme advantage in our network that we do not only market the belly capacities of the whole Lufthansa group, except Swiss, but we also have a couple of joint ventures with other major brands like ANA, like Cathay Pacific, and of course United. And in addition, we also operate a fleet of owned freighters, which always can be used and reallocated to balance the belly network, which we as Lufthansa Cargo can't influence too much. So the freighters are an additional capacity which we completely flexibly can adjust to the needs of the market. And second, we try to digitalize our processes, our business model, where we can, not digitalization for the sake of digitalization, but really to make us more reliable, more stable, but also a little bit less labor intense for our operational business. But in the end, with all these measures, you can't fully avoid the impact of the business environment in which we are operating. And so, of course, we all have to accept to some extent that our results are volatile and they will remain to be volatile.
Yes, like the crisis with right now with the coronavirus, I think it would have been extremely difficult for anybody to foresee and take into full account the consequences. And even now, it's quite early to tell the full extent in which it's going to impact the business in China, in Asia, and overall globally. So hopefully not too long before it gets under control. Also, what I wanted to ask you, I know that you signed. Or you have an agreement, a partnership agreement with Teleport, which is AirAsia's cargo and logistics platform. And for our listeners that are maybe not from Asia, AirAsia is the largest low-cost airline in Asia, and they have a very big network. So by this partnership with Teleport and Lufthansa Cargo, obviously that helps you expand your network. Is there a certain long-term strategy behind this? Do you want to focus more on Asia as a region as opposed to other regions, or tell us a little bit about the thinking behind?
Yeah, definitely. Asia as a region, like the US, are the most important trade lanes we have with our business centered in the middle of Europe, in the heart of Europe, here in Frankfurt and Munich. So, of course, with that geographic positioning, both Northern Atlantic but also Far East and China is our most important business. And as I said before, one of our strengths is a huge widespread but also flexible network. We operate with belly capacities with own freighters, but also with joint ventures with other airlines. In addition to that, we also try to anticipate, rather more, also try to drive the change in the business model with respect especially to booking, pricing, quotation, and maybe also some years later in accounting. So we see a couple of new platforms coming up, some at the horizon, some others still operationally working, putting themselves between the shipper, the forwarder, and the airlines. And we try to partner with as much as we can with them via standardized interfaces and our own API framework. So we connect to these platforms, and we even are investing in one of them, Cargo One, you probably know, which has been founded 1.5 years ago only. And we see here a tremendous growth in their business, and the success they have simply confirm our strategy, not only to invest in our own and say airline controlled sales channels, but also to partner with additional sales channels to be amongst the first to get connected and also deliver more value and better quality and better services to our clients via these partnerships.
And I want to touch upon a very delicate but at the same time crucial subject, which is cybersecurity. The more we live in these digital ecosystems and environments, the more I think you were also sharing in an interview that you're definitely moving away from a dedicated on-premise data center to multi-cloud environment. The more cybersecurity is crucial to the running of the business, really. And there's been some pretty significant breaches in the past. Let's not name them, but in shipping and literally just a couple of days ago there was a major one announced also for another 3PL company in this side of the world. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the, let's say, strategies, points of thinking, and how do you approach the topic of cybersecurity in Lufthansa Cargo?
Yeah, first of all, good news for us is we haven't been hit heavily so far. Bad news, it can happen today or tomorrow. So nobody can consider himself or his company as really safe and protected. So we are very aware of that, and it's really great to see us operating in a broader group on Lufthansa Group level, who's putting more and more focus and energy and also budgets to protect our whole airline environment. Not only the airlines, but also our adjacents like technique, like cargo, like catering, and so on. On group level, we have launched a major program 2 years ago. We call it internally the SHIELD program. We have engaged a corporate information security officer, and this is on the agenda of all management meetings now, really to see where do we have a gap we should close, where should we do even better than we are doing currently. And it's getting more and more also on the agenda of the top management on C level, because again, everybody is aware we can be hit tomorrow, as other companies already have been faced with. And the migration from our on-prem data centers to the cloud certainly will also help us to come to a better, even higher level of security, because it's always easier to protect a highly standardized, a highly professional, external, hyperscaled operating environment than you could do with a rather small own dedicated on-prem environment. So there's a strategic goal of Lufthansa Group to move in the next years from our on-prem data centers to public clouds. We manage with an additional layer by the independent party so that we get the best protection to our software and process assets. But technology is only one part of cybersecurity. It's much more about also awareness, mindset, and attitude. And here is really a huge change also in the people behaviors. And we also put a lot of efforts on awareness and training measures, not on technology only, but also simply to make people aware about these social attacks like phishing, like CIO frauds, and all that attempts to attack us. So people is in the middle of everything, and without the right mindset, and people protecting, well, it's basics like protecting passwords, like locking the screen when you leave the desk, like not using any unknown USB device, and so on. I'm pretty sure you can avoid a lot of that, say, easy attacks just by making people aware of the risks.
And since you brought on the topic of people, and I was going to ask you, you mentioned, and I like this a lot in one of the interviews, that because of this digital transformation, you believe that this company that it will move Lufthansa Cargo to be a much more attractive employer to top talent in the tech sector. And you also acknowledge a reality that is very much, as far as I'm concerned as well, and we actually come from the executive search and headhunting part of the business. It is a reality that not a lot of people, and especially young talent, knows much about air freight, and about transportation and logistics in general. So I was curious, how do you see, all this digital transformation also playing a part and potentially helping you with your employer brand, making Lufthansa Cargo a more attractive employer? Have you done something already? Have you seen some results already? I'm curious because this is definitely something that the whole industry should be working to get its brand and its reputation better and more attractive as an employer.
Yeah, that's a perfect question, especially in these times of the war for talents. And indeed, it's not easy to find the right people. They're there, but they have also a lot of other opportunities. And as you said, air freight is not a business you as a young man really can see and feel. Huh? If you fly, you have a touch point with the booking, with the check-in, with the experience of the flight. You can do the e-commerce, but you hardly have any personal interaction with e-freight itself. So maybe you have a rough idea what might be in these aluminum containers you see sometimes put into the bellies of your plane when you have taken your seat at the window. But I always say this industry is so interesting to IT people. And we have basically all kind of problem. We have use cases, really convincing use cases for all kind of technology, whether it's AI, whether it's autonomous vehicles, for example, for managing our warehouses, probably not flying autonomous planes in the next decades. Whether it's blockchain to get trust in the supply chain, whether it's big data, image recognition. We have currently a couple of experiments with startups, especially in our warehouse environment, to operate it more efficiently, but also with added value and so on. So we are trying to make these really great problems a little bit more known to people. And one of our activities is that we, as Lufthansa Group in general, go out to the universities, go to these job markets. We try also to encourage all of our people to simply be more active on social media. And finally, also, and this is also a great news to Lufthansa Group, we have 2 captive IT partners with the Lufthansa Group, with Lufthansa Systems and Lufthansa Digital Solutions. And they indeed are really attractive to young people to work in the airline IT business. And they are not so much suffering from applications and recruitments. To be honest, we as Lufthansa Cargo do, but we are closely working together with them. And as they are internal companies, it's not so important whether people are on my own payroll or at Lufthansa Industry Solutions, because in any case, we can use their intelligence, their creativity, and their competence for our business. Here again, the diversity of Lufthansa Group is definitely a competitive advantage to be so widespread in the business from IT to core airline business, so that we always can find the right people. But war for talent is there, and we have to compete with really tech-driven companies like the Big Fours. And if somebody really looks for a job as a coder, as a developer, we might not be the most attractive employee, but we are aware of that, and we focus especially on people combining IT and business skills to bring our industry forward.
I'm just curious, and this prompted into my mind, and I was actually meaning to ask you at the beginning, but better late than never, because you had a very interesting trajectory, Jochen, right? You came from the banking side, and in 2015, you shifted to Lufthansa. Maybe you can share a little bit your personal, journey. What prompted you? What got you excited about the journey of Lufthansa Cargo that prompted you to make the shift in some ways of industry?
Yeah, for me personally, indeed, it was actually what I just described. There are so many unsolved problems here in that industry, and if you really have fun working with IT for the business, tech for the business, we have so many playing fields here where you can engage. And digitalization is lagging maybe 20 years behind airline business and maybe 40, 50 years behind the banking industry. Well, if you look at banking or financial services, what is their core production? It is indeed the IT backbone. Yeah, they do not need fleets of planes. They do not need, in that sense, terminals or hubs or airports. They mainly need a highly reliable, stable, and performant IT. So in that sense, we are trying also to make or to convert the role of IT in our business from a cost factor, from a commodity, or it was considered until maybe level, on the same level, like our fleet and the crews, like our hubs, like our airports, because we need everything at the same time to operate the airline in an efficient and reliable way for our clients. This is the main challenge I still see. We are still working in a little bit of a legacy environment. There are a lot of renovations going on, and as I said, our current main focus is on the modernization of the whole sales landscape with a couple of major projects, and these are really also attracting people, and I see more and more people knocking our door asking, hey, why can't we join Lufthansa Cargo to follow us on the journey to digitalization? It is a completely different industry, and with the role IT has in banking, finance industry, I'm trying also to give the IT business here higher perception, better perception, and a more visible and perceivable role in the whole organization.
Oh, and look, I mean, it's definitely I in many ways I salute and admire both your basically desire to make these changes, also the desire from Lufthansa Cargo, because it's kind of a both way journey, and it's great that they took on somebody like yourself that can bring fresh perspectives into the business, that can bring a fresh pair of eyes, right, and look at things in a different way, because well, unfortunately, fortunately, it's just a reality. A lot of companies sometimes just end up doing the same, more of the same, and kind of get the same merry-go-round of people, and then obviously you're not going to get any fresh ideas. So in that way, I'm sure lots of things to do. And I wanted to end the interview as I normally do, and for our younger listeners, I wanted to ask you, because you've had a long career, a successful career, you made it to a C-level role in a large organization. What would be some pieces of advice that you could share for younger professionals that were most helpful for you in building your career?
Yeah, be open, dare to try. Don't try to think what's happening in 3, 4, 5, or even 10 years, because not only in affiliate industry, but in most industry, you hardly know what will happening next year. So rely on your attitude and mindsets, work on your skills every day, and be open, and the future is yours.
Thank you, Jochen. Well, it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate the good sharing and practical advice and case studies that you imparted with our audience today from Lufthansa Cargo. And we wish you all the best in the future, in the next a little bit stormy months, but hopefully all will be well. And hope to see you soon.
Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Super. Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you liked what you heard, be sure to go to www.elcotglobal.com and click the podcast button for all the show notes of the interview. Also, subscribe to our mailing list to get our latest updates first. If you're listening through a streaming platform like iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher, we would appreciate a kind review. 5-star works best to keep us going and our production team happy. And of course, share it with your friends. I'm most active on LinkedIn, so do feel free to follow me. And if you have any suggestions on what to do and who to invite next, don't hesitate to drop me a note. And if you're looking to hire top executives in supply chain or transform your business, of course, contact us as well to find out how we can help.